Welcome to the second video of a series for creating new framing systems. Here we have the YHS50 TU system that we copied, and this is from the YKK catalog. And I've already adjusted the name or changed the name so that we know it's different than the one we copied from. So if you remember, we copied a field glaze system over to a pre-glazed, so we changed the name to pre-glazed. But the next steps will be downloading some details from the YKK website and then updating the components to have the parts reflect the differences. So let's go to the YKK website, and there you can find the technical data or technical documents that they have for the different systems. We found the YHS50 TU system, and then here we have the pre-glazed and then inside glaze. So this is an example of how YKK does their details, where you have a sample drawing here and you have bubbles for all the different components. And I've actually looked at these ahead of time and saw that the wall jambs are actually the same for both the pre-glazed and the field glazed. So we don't need to download those for this update we're doing, but you would want to kind of determine that on your own. If you're copying different kinds of systems or even creating a brand new one, you're just going to have to download all the details. So probably what we'll do today is just the head, horizontal, vertical sill details, because those are the kind of the basics. So in that case, you would just click on one of the details, and then there's a download DXF. And our program can take DXF or DWG files, so keep that in mind. And then it's going to download probably to your downloads folder, and then you can organize these on your own, but as long as you know where they are, so that when we work in the Components tab of WinBid Pro, you can select the proper details for the proper components. So that's kind of what is important. And I like to get all the details at once, which I've already done, and that way I'm kind of done with this screen and I can go back to WinBid Pro. So let's do that now. And we've already made the changes to this screen. Everything else is pretty much the same between the pre-glazed and the field glazed. So now it's time to click on Components. And let's just start with the head assembly here. So if we open this up, now that we've already got the details downloaded, it's time to actually update the detail for this component. So I'm going to click this little cloud upload button, and then I'm going to look in my folder where I saved these, and I'm going to find the YHS50 TU PG for pre-glazed, IG for inside glazed, and then I'm looking for head. So that would be this file right here. I'm going to pick that. It's going to update or upload, and then I have to click save. And right away I noticed a couple differences. There's these two blocks are part of the pre-glazed system, and they were not part of the field glaze. So that's something. Also, there was a filler, a flat filler in the field glaze, so that's right here. So in some cases you're going to have to delete a part, and that's what I'll do there. And then we also want to double check extrusions, even though they're similar systems. We've got the 0658 and the 0636. So those are the same. So really the only differences here are these blocks. So we're going to add those in right now. The E20674, and I can hit either tab or click on that. And I'm going to keep tabbing until it gives me a new row and add the second block, which is a 0363. So in this case, I'll take the mouse and click on it. Now I'm going to go back to the first one I've added, and we probably need two of these blocks, kind of they're similar to setting blocks, I would assume. So we're going to change the quantity to 2 there. I'm going to go ahead and click on this second row, change that quantity to 2. And then I like to tab off the field that I've just updated just for kicks. So now I'm going to click OK, because that's basically all the changes I need to make to this assembly. So that's the type of thing you need to do for all the different assemblies. As I mentioned, in this system, I don't have to change the jambs, but I know the verticals are for sure different, because the system, to be pre-glazed, it has a 2-piece vertical, and they basically fit together when you install the panels. Another thing I wanted to point out is we can always go to the installation instructions, which I have here in this tab, and this gives you kind of an overview of what we're looking at for this. So you're building panels with horizontals with all four corners fastened, and you're installing those into the sill flashing with screws. So that tells me right away that the sill flashing is probably different, and we know the verticals are different. So let's continue on with doing our changes. We'll skip horizontals for now. So let's go to sill, because sill's important since it does have a sill flashing, or let's say a sill receptor. So this is the field glaze version, and then let's go ahead and upload the new one. So remember, that's the first step, is updating the detail, and we know that the sill detail has an S in it, so it's the pre-glazed sill. I'm going to open that, it uploads it, and I'm going to save it. So right away I know that there's some differences here. It doesn't have an anchor, so we're going to remove the anchor. And it doesn't have these 1424 screws, so I'm going to remove that. It does have setting blocks. We're going to check and see if those are the same part, 9938, which they are. And now we want to see if our extrusions are correct. So this extrusion, that's pointing to the sill flashing. So it's a matter of kind of figuring out what's pointing to what, right? So to figure out this sill extrusion, it's a BE90637. So that's totally different. BE90637. And then this one is not there. So this is a one-piece sill, but then the actual receptor or the flashing is two pieces. So that's where we need to go. Sometimes you need to write things down too, where if this is a 0639, we know that's different. And then we know there's this outside cover, which is, I'm going to scroll out and then scroll in here, a 6342. We know that those parts are different. So now we have to get out of the sill component and go to the sill receptor. And right now there's no detail for sill flashing or receptor because it's part of the sill detail. But I do see that this is a 0687 and we wanted a 0639. So you can either do a screenshot or write down the part numbers for this type of thing. So I'm going to keep tabbing, and then I can click on the new row here. So we're going to go BE90642 was the other part. Oops. It helps if it types 0642. Oh, it might not have been a BE9. See, now I've already messed up and I got to go back. So we're going to hit OK. And between you and me, we're going to be updating the way that works so that you will be able to put your receptor stuff while you're looking at the same detail. So that's it's not a BE9, it's an E9. So that's the trick there. And I can actually add it right here. I don't have to go into the other screen, so that's another kind of shortcut. And there it found it. It's called an interior face cover. So that's pretty much. Now there's one other catch here for that sill, and there's some screws there that it was showing to fasten the sill receptor or the sill flashing to the sill. That's PC1008. So let's go ahead and put those in. We can actually put those in right here, PC1008, and I can hit tab. And that's something that the installation instructions often help with. And I looked at those instructions and it told me there needs to be 3 of those per sill. So I can put the quantity of 3 for that screw. And we could have put it in here in the sill receptor, but we would have had to say every 2 feet or every 18 inches or something. But since the instructions say 3 per sill, it's easier to put that into the sill assembly. So that's kind of the idea behind copying a system and modifying it to change parts to meet whatever system you're creating. Now, if we were to do this from scratch, we would have had to put every single one of these parts in, and that definitely is more time consuming. So whenever you can, you want to copy a system and make changes to it. So after we've gone through and changed all these different components, then we hit save, and now we have a framing system that's ready to use in our list here. So that's pretty much the trick, and thanks for watching.